On Tuesday, the 5th of December 2023, 28-year-old wife and mother Ismanira Abdul Manaf picked up her 6-year-old son Zayn Rayyan Abdul Martin from his school to take him home. Home was a third-floor apartment, but Zayn Rayyan didn't reach home. He disappeared while he followed his mother up the stairs to the apartment. Now, Zayn was special. He was an autistic child who couldn't speak. Zayn was found some 34 hours later, strangled to death and discarded in the shallow bank of a stream just 200 miles from his home. This case appalled us Malaysians and tugged at our heartstrings. This episode contains information that I have been able to gather from multiple sources regarding Zayn Rayyan's heartbreaking murder. I will not be offering any opinions or making any comments because this is an ongoing police investigation.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy, and silently, it could build and build until you finally see, whoa, it's taking over, damn no.
Hello and thanks for dropping by. I do hope that you're okay. And if you have any young children or grandchildren, I pray that they are safe and will remain so. As this episode contains content about the distressing murder of a child, viewer discretion is advised. Let's get into our story. Now, who was Zayn Rayyan? What we know is that Zayn was the elder of 2 children born to his mother Ismanira Abdul Manaf and his father Zayn Ikhwan Zahari, both aged 28. Zayn was also the eldest grandson to his grandparents. He has a younger sister and he lived with his family in Block R of an apartment complex called the Idaman Apartments in Damansara Damai in the state of Selangor, Malaysia. Zayn was in his first year of school at the Sekolah Kebangsaan Damansara Damai No. 2. He was 120 cm in height, and he had a face that when you look at now will surely make you cry because he looks so vulnerable. Zayn's autism spectrum disorder caused him to be non-verbal. He couldn't speak, but he could say the most important words, Mummy and Daddy. He was always with either parent or both of them and held on tightly to them. Neighbors said that he was an obedient and gentle child who didn't cause any trouble in the neighborhood. His babysitter described him as a kind and gentle child who was easy to look after. Zayn's mother said that Zayn liked to run fast and he had a habit of running into the homes of other people, but he always came back. He didn't go anywhere without asking permission. Zayn's parents made time for their children even when they were tired or busy. One of the family's favorite pastimes was to walk around the mall and then settle down to a meal. Most of us Malaysian parents can relate to that, right? Been there, done that. Zayn was close to his grandparents as well. He visited them every weekend. He would run and kiss his grandfather the minute he entered his grandfather's house. Zayn loved swimming and by hiking with his grandfather, with whom he also enjoyed long walks. His grandfather now holds these memories close to his heart. Precious memories of Zayn's brief life. In a nutshell, Zayn was an active and endearing child, much loved by his family. On that fateful day that he disappeared, when Ismanira and Zayn arrived at the apartment complex, Zayn, being the little boy that he was, wanted to play on the swing that was in a playground servicing the 18-block apartment complex. So Ismanira let him play. Afterwards, they walked up the stairs to their apartment, which was on the 3rd floor of Block R. According to Ismanira, she walked in front of Zayn carrying the groceries and Zayn's school bag while Zayn followed her. At some point, Ismanira called out to Zayn, but there was no response. She turned to check and found that he was not there. Zayn was missing. The time was about 12:30 p.m. Ismanira was in a panic. She looked all over for Zayn. When she couldn't locate him anywhere, she informed her husband, and soon friends and neighbors were searching the whole area for Zayn. Zayn was in his school uniform, a white collared shirt, black trousers and black shoes. So they were looking for a little boy wearing his school uniform. When the search party didn't have any luck, Ismanira filed a missing persons report at 6:36 p.m. on the same day, 5th December 2023. Thus began a vigorous search and rescue operation by multiple agencies, members of a caring public, the residents of Idaman apartments and sniffer dogs. The search continued the next day, the 6th of December, despite being hampered by rain. In the late evening of the 6th of December, one person and a group of searchers followed a gut feeling and searched near a stream some 200 meters from Zayn's apartment block. He found Zayn at about 10 p.m. Zayn lay dead in the shallow waters of a bank of the stream, still fully clothed in his school uniform. It was 34 hours since he went missing. Ismanira sobbed and her husband fainted upon hearing the news of Zayn's death. This is the absolute worst thing that can happen to any parent, and this shock and sadness affected the people of Malaysia. Numerous condolences were posted on the internet. The police cordoned off the area to facilitate the investigation. Zayn's body was sent for a post-mortem and his clothes were sent to the chemistry department for analysis. During the post-mortem, ligature and compression marks were found on Zayn's neck that were consistent with death by strangulation. Zayn therefore didn't drown as was initially thought. Injuries on his body as well as defensive wounds showed that Zayn had struggled with his killer. Zayn had fought bravely for his life before it was snuffed out. He was a little hero. The pathologist concluded that Zayn was killed within 48 hours before his body was discovered. His body was released to his parents in the evening of 7th of December, and he was buried on the same day at the Section 9 Muslim cemetery in Shah Alam. This was what Ismanira wrote in an Instagram post in the aftermath of Zayn's death. We will meet again, yeah, Abang. Wait for Mummy, okay? Mummy misses hugging, kissing and playing with you so much. You'll always be Mummy's eldest, irreplaceable. Forgive me if there were shortcomings during the time I raised you. In another touching Instagram post, she wrote, and I'll read. No one else will ever know the strength of my love for you. After all, you are the only one who knows what my heart sounds like from the inside. How true that is. The mother's heartbeat is the very first sound that a human being hears. Now, with the discovery of Zayn's body, the case morphed from a missing persons case to a case of sudden death and then to a case of homicide. Zayn's family members were shocked. What they thought was an unfortunate accident had undergone a grotesque transformation into murder. Unimaginable. The police now had a killer to catch, and time had already started to run from the afternoon of December the 5th when Zayn went missing. The police had lost nearly 2 days. The police began by setting up a special task force and conducted an extensive investigation that consisted of 2 parts. In the first part, the police investigated the scene where Zayn's body was found. Then, someone said that they had seen Zayn walk into the jungle area near the apartment block after he went missing. So the search was extended to the surrounding areas. This whole area to be searched covered some 300 meters. The area was cordoned off. However, when police and sniffer dogs searched the jungle area, no clues or any evidence was found to indicate that Zayn had been there. The search at the stream where Zayn was found also did not yield any evidence that could lead to the perpetrator. The police also flew drones over the area where Zayn's body was found to find possible ingress and egress routes of the area. Although the police didn't find any relevant evidence, the extensive search that was conducted led the police to believe that the killer knew his way around the vicinity, because the area in which Zayn was found was a secluded area with little or no traffic. That was the first assumption that the police made, that the killer was familiar with the area. Based on leads obtained, the signs of struggle, and the strangulation marks found on Zayn, the police also believe that the crime was committed by a single person. That's the second assumption made by the police. On the 12th of December, a drainage and irrigation department truck drained the stream where Zayn's body was found. They were joined by the forensics team and the K9 unit. The drainage and irrigation department also emptied the reservoir that was near the stream where Zayn's body was found. Apart from a single sock, nothing else was found in the drained reservoir, and it transpired that the sock was not Zayn's. So that was a dead end. Now, Zayn's body was found in an area that was searched twice earlier, and nothing was found. Then, lo and behold, it appeared there later. The police therefore believe that Zayn was murdered elsewhere and his body transported to the stream for disposal. So that is the third assumption the police made, that the area of the stream was not the primary scene of the homicide. The second part of the police investigation involved searching the Idaman apartment blocks and the units therein to question the residents and obtain their fingerprints and DNA samples. The Idaman apartment complex consists of 18 blocks of apartments which housed about in excess of 2,400 units. Police started searching the complex on December the 8th, and the search went on for a few days. As of December the 10th, the police had searched a total of 2,484 units and 5,628 people. Several items were taken from houses during the door-to-door search of the units and sent for forensic analysis. The parents, relatives, neighbors, and people who had seen Zayn were interviewed and their statements recorded. A person was in fact identified as a suspect, and their fingerprints were sent to the lab for analysis, but this did not lead to any arrest. 3 other suspects were also taken into custody and questioned, but were found to be drug users with no connection to Zayn's murder. The police also searched a storage room that was some 50 meters from Block R, from which they recovered fingerprints, which were sent for analysis, but looks like no useful information has come out of that. The police conducted another round of searches of the units in the in Block R and obtained some objects that they thought could serve as leads in the case. They hoped that this newly acquired evidence would lead to a suspect, but as far as we know, no new information was obtained. On December the 14th, in a much-needed turn of events that provided some information on the timeline of Zayn's disappearance, two male children who were identified through police mass screenings said that they had seen Zayn alone on the second and third floors of Block R between 5 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. on the day he went missing. Therefore, that would be around 4.5 to 5 hours after Zayn went missing. The incident was reenacted by the police with the two children to search for any new evidence from the staircase to the stream where Zayn was found. There were no CCTV cameras installed in the area where Zayn's body was found because that area was outside the jurisdiction of the apartment's management committee. Also, the complex was serviced by only 4 CCTV cameras because it is a low-cost development. These cameras were positioned at the entrance, exit, the walkway of Block J, and near the surah, which is the Muslim prayer room. The camera footage from these cameras were taken by the police for analysis. Dashcam camera footage from the residents' dashcam cameras were also sent for analysis by the police. Despite the police being committed to catching the murderer and doing everything possible to nab the suspect, matters were taking their time. The residents became anxious. They appreciated that the police were doing their best, but they wanted the investigations to be expedited and the probe wrapped up as soon as possible. But that was easier said than done. This case was far from being straightforward. The lack of credible witnesses, the absence of CCTV surveillance, and the huge area to be searched put the police in a disadvantaged position. They were hampered by the fact that Zayn's body was found not where he was killed but elsewhere. You see, most clues are left where the murder is committed. The task was further complicated by the fact that Zayn was found in water and it had rained the day that he was discovered. Added to that, the body was found 34 hours after Zayn disappeared. As a result, evidence may have been washed away. Acknowledging that Zayn's murder was not a straightforward case, the police said that they needed more information and more evidence to catch the culprit. So far, the police had come up with 3 conclusions. The murderer was familiar with the area, they acted alone, and they killed Zayn elsewhere and deposited his body on the bank of the stream. A criminal analyst also suggested that the murderer could be known to Zayn. Now, we don't know if the police accepted this suggestion. In any event, no further useful information was forthcoming, as far as we know. Now, Block R had some vacant units, some 40 of them. On December the 17th, the investigation expanded into these vacant units. The forensics team spent about 2 hours searching the vacant lots on the 3rd and 4th floors of Block R. However, it appears that no credible leads were found as far as we know. On the 18th of December, the police requested that they be given space to conduct thorough investigations and time to process all the evidence that they had collected. As of the 24th of December, 225 statements had been recorded 248 DNA samples had been collected, out of which 246 had been analyzed. However, as of that date, there was no identifiable suspect. This prompted the police to enlist the assistance of Interpol to check its database with regard to evidence obtained by the police. The police continued with their investigations. A problem the police had was that they were unable to come up with a motive. A motive will definitely help police identify a suspect, but in this case, the police were and are still unable to ascertain a motive for this murder. This added to the difficulties the police faced. So, they planned to re-interview the family and others and gather more intelligence in the hope of ascertaining a motive. The December school holidays soon rolled around. School holidays usually see the apartment complex playground full of children, but with this murder, the playground was quiet during the holidays. Fear was palpable in Idaman apartments. The common areas of the apartment complex were deserted, with everyone safely ensconced within their apartments, scared to go out unnecessarily. When they had to venture out, parents held their children close, looking all around for any menacing threat. Block R, which was usually the liveliest, was now dead quiet. A sense of fear, anxiety and sadness had descended on the Idaman apartments. The year ended without any resolution in Zayn Rayyan's murder. On the 2nd of January 2024, the police said that the case has not been classified as requiring no further action. They confirmed that it was still an ongoing investigation and would never be stopped. On 7th of January, police confirmed that they had received some information from Interpol regarding the database check, but what it is, we don't know. They may be keeping things close to their chest for good reason. The police also said that they believe that the dash cam of a vehicle has footage that will help them in identifying the murderer and thus solving the mystery of Zayn's tragic demise. On January the 9th, positive news broke with regard to Zayn's murder. By this time, the police had concluded 90% of the investigations. The investigations comprised of forensics, pathology, witness statements, and searches conducted at the apartment complex, the area where the body was found, and surrounding areas. The police said that they were gathering more information and believed that they have identified a suspect and are looking at the possibilities of making an arrest after going through all the evidence that they had gathered in the case and triangulating their findings. We are now approaching the end of January 2024 and the police still don't have a suspect in custody, although they are very committed to apprehending the guilty party. This naturally brings into mind the perpetrator of this crime. Is this murderer so good that they have escaped detection and capture? Are they such a mastermind to have pulled off the heinous murder of a child without any evidence leading to them? Hopefully not. We must have faith in the police and the hard work that they are doing and hope that the perpetrator will be caught soon. If anyone has any information about this case, please contact the police. That's it for today. Until I see you again with another true crime case, take care, be vigilant, and be kind. Bye.